My first teaching post was at Seboni Secondary School in Witbank. I was the youngest teacher there. The staff was not big, we were 6. And I had the misfortune, was my poorest subject in my diploma was music. And being the youngest, the principal instructed me to take up the choir. I didn't know just where to start. Fortunately, 2 days after I was instructed to start the choir, somebody who was an expert in music arrived at school, was appointed. I was so excited that I screamed. Children were surprised, what is this man screaming about? I assumed that now I'm relieved. Mr. Nkondo, who is a musician, will take up the choir. But the principal was so cruel, he said I must take a junior choir. And we were invited to go, the school was invited to go and perform at a church function. He said my choir was going to perform there. And to make things worse, that evening it rained so heavily, very few children turned up. But anyway, let's come back to the school. I was given Northern Sotho, arithmetic, and Afrikaans to teach. And Afrikaans came this way. The man who was teaching Afrikaans, Mr. Kunene, you know Kunene?
Kunene C3.
C3,
Yes.
Left Witbank. He was the Afrikaans master. And now the man who had to come and replace him was a notorious man. He had affairs with school children and so on. So to block him, when the principal heard that I did Afrikaans in matric, he said, now you take Afrikaans. So I had to take up that Afrikaans to block that man from coming into the staff. Well, I think I did very well. I never failed it. No child failed my Afrikaans. The 3 subjects I taught, I enjoyed teaching them. So being a young teacher, fresh in the field, I felt that I was gaining experience now. I started enjoying all those theories that I learned at college, putting them into practice. Extramural activities, as the youngest teacher again, I was given sports that I enjoyed. Soccer and athletics. And I was not a very good soccer player, but my team was almost unbeatable. In bigger schools with bigger roles like Mamelodi, and they couldn't beat me. My just even remarked one day, said, you don't have to be a good player to be a good trainer. And we enjoyed, I don't remember losing a match to any high school team. And fortunately for me, Mrs. Gwen Mashangu was appointed to the staff. She was a good tennis and basketball player. So we made a good combination. Our teams were almost impossible to beat. And that's all I can say about my stay at Education. But now, what disturbed me at Education, why I decided to leave, I'll tell the story later when I come to my family. The school board was not there to promote black education. But in many occasions, they were there to oppress the teachers. Because when they drew up that legislation to govern the school boards, they made no provision for academic qualifications. Any parent could be on the board. Whether he can read or write, he can be on the board and control graduates on the staff. So the school board in Woodbank was very, very busy. When the department felt that we should reduce the staff by taking away 2 males and replace them with 1 woman, they decided to remove the principal and the men who founded the school. So we felt we cannot stand a thing like that. We wanted to resign, remove the principal. We were young, it was easy for us to move, but not a man with a family. To be told that from now on, 11 o'clock, you are no longer employed. The notices were delivered at 11 o'clock and we had to terminate on the spot. Not even given a chance to look for a job somewhere. And it was senseless to remove the principal of the school. So now that made me feel that I'm not welcome in Woodbank. I cannot work with such people. And my wife was dismissed from teaching because she was married. There was a new law that married women can only be appointed on temporary basis. My wife was the last to be married on the steps of Woodbank, but she was one of the victims. She had to be dismissed because she was married. Then I also decided to leave Woodbank.
Okay, and when was this? When you left
June
Woodbank?
1959.
1959.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But dismissing the principal, that really shocked us. And no notice of termination of service. So that is the illiterate school was enjoying oppressing the so-called educated.
How did they get this right? Were they the Department of Education?
I don't know if
Did they recommend these things?
I don't know how you're going to put this in. You know, when we were at college, we discussed the implications of the Ainsland Commission, which investigated the feasibility of black Bantu education, having a Department of Education for the Bantus and using mother tongue. So we as students, we discussed that and we saw some dangers in that. Because one of the things that would stress was that the education given to a black child should not make him see green pastures where he will never be allowed to graze. Now that implies inferior education. We're not going to get the same education with the whites who will be allowed to work anywhere. Now if you get a good education like the whites, but you will not be allowed to occupy the jobs that they are occupying. So when we went into teaching, we had that in mind that we should do our best to give our children the best that we can offer, not be controlled by these people. Then the school boards were another tool to retard the education of the blacks. If you have a whole graduate applying for a job to be assessed by a man who cannot write his name, how do you expect that to go? That man can be bribed, that give me 20 rand, I'll give you 20 rand, give me the job. They won't go for it. They don't know who is the best of the applicants. And the fact that they would enjoy controlling the educated, that is going to discourage the teachers. Many resign from teaching. We had another case in Lady Seboni where it proved that the school boards were the tools of the government to oppress the blacks. Mr. Bob Leshwai, principal of Lady Seboni Secondary School, found that a municipal worker had parked his car in front of his gate. He wanted to get in. The man wouldn't refuse to move his car. So he slapped that white man. The case was reported. Bob Leshwai was dismissed. The school board said, now, we are the employers. You said we are the employers. You cannot dismiss this man. So now pay him. We will now pay. You are regarded as an employer, but you have no money to pay your workers. So Paul Leshwai had to leave teaching because the school board couldn't pay him his salary. Seboni had a very strong school board under Dr. Nkomo. But in Wheatbank we had envious people running the school board. They enjoyed oppressing the teachers. That is why they could go and give a principal of a school notice, not notice, a letter of dismissal. I remember it was 11 o'clock when they arrived at school. When he opened the letter, I found that he was dismissed. He's no longer principal. And so we felt that we cannot stay with such people. In my case, it became worse when they dismissed my wife because she was married.
Where was he teaching? Same school or at another school?
Primary school, she was teaching.
Oh, okay.
And the man was behind my wife's dismissal. Wanted his daughter was teaching in Middleburg to come and teach in Wheatbank. And as fate would have it, she couldn't come. She was pregnant, outside wedlock. So she too was not suitable for the post. Now the school board system was one way of retarding black education. And so Rena as students, we saw those things and said, now, when we get into the field, we're going to try and give the best we can. I'll come back to it when I talk about Tembisa.
Okay.
Just want to see if I switch off the backlight, if there's a difference. Backlight.
Right. Oh,
Okay.
we can proceed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So you left that place in 1959,
Yes.
June. Okay.
And fortunately for me, Mr. Mutsipe had been pestering me that I should come and teach with him at Mamelodi High.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were at a Twitter conference in Natal Spruit, I said, now, are you ready to receive me? He said, when can you start? I said, when schools will be open. He said, now from here, come to Mamelodi, fill the forms. I didn't give notice in Wheatbank. They said they'll see me not reporting. So that's how they treat other people. I told the circuit inspector in Middleburg that I'm leaving the school. He tried to discourage me. I said, no. When I mentioned the dismissal of the principal and my wife and 4 wives of other principals were dismissed. So because it was all envy. So Mr. Engelbrecht allowed me, under such conditions, I think I will allow you to go. You don't have to serve any notice. That's when I started at Mamelodi High School in July 1959. There I was given Northern Soto, arithmetic and maths. I enjoyed that. And fortunately, when I was given the completing class from 3 in Northern Soto, it was a continuation of the work I was doing in Winnipeg. So no one was disadvantaged there. Just continued as if I was still in Winnipeg. And the class did exceptionally well. Then extramural activities. I was placed in charge of House C, which at that time was virtually a dead house. Mr. Select was in charge of the house. Slept to
Okay.
no, the house was dead, so I built that house up. It became one of the best of the 4 houses. And then I ended up being the sports organizer of Mamelodi High School. And I was also a soccer trainer at Mamelodi High School.
Soccer coach or a trainer? Just as a coach.
Well, we used to call them trainers.
Okay.
Well, I produced some of the best players in Mamelodi, people like Fish Kekana. I don't know if you know him.
Yes, the late Fish Kekan.
Yeah.
Okay. The people who bought Mamelodi Sundowns.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I remember one time the hot one was in head of athletics, fell ill. He was knocked down by a car, broke his leg. I had to take over the training of the athletics team. Single-handedly, I had to train the team. No other teachers were prepared to come and help me. And we did exceptionally well at the inter-school competitions in Attersville. The children cooperated. They were aware of the condition of Mr. Lokotwane, and I was, as sports organizer, I had to take over. And it was during my stay at Mamelodi, teaching at Mamelodi, that in 1965, I was granted a British Council grant. And through a British Council grant to go and observe methods of teaching mathematics in England. The department wouldn't give me paid leave, but fortunately the British Council gave me good allowance. But on my return, the department decided to make use of me. Share with us what you learned that time. So I was running courses in Mamelodi, Attersville, Rankuwa, Jamestown. And all they could give me was a second-class ticket to Jamestown. They wouldn't pay me for their services. Yet they refused to pay me when I went on study leave. And with that British Council grant, I learned a lot from what I met in England. And when I came back, as I say, I was used by the department. And those that I worked with, inspectors and so on, were very, very thankful. And then what else?
When did you leave Mamelodi High School?
Well, I was shaking some details, you know. When I was at Mamelodi High School, I was elected chairman of the Teachers Association in Tuwata.
And when was this?
From 1962. And then we had classes with the school board. I called the principals. Then I'm calling you as chair, you are chairman. You must face the school board. The way they are treating schools is not acceptable. They were shifting teachers at will from one school to the other without any notice and with no reason. So I called the principals to a meeting. We discussed their problems. Said, no, I'm going to arrange a meeting with the school board. I won't be allowed to attend that meeting because I'm not a principal. They agreed. The meeting was arranged. The school board was so arrogant, said, now I'm ready to see us, here we are. We are healthy, I will say this way, can we go? And some of those principals started getting scared. Said, no, it must be a mistake, we can't call our employers to the meeting. Then Mrs. Chidi saved the situation. Said, I'm surprised, they all had problems. Today they have managed to solve their problems, but my problem is not solved. What is your problem? You removed all the Zulu teachers from my school and let the Zulu children. Who's going to teach those children? Then they became aware of their blunder. Then all those other principals came with their problems now. That's how we managed to discipline the school board, expose them, and the principals gathered some courage because of Mrs. Chidi, and everything was resolved.
Was there only one school board for
Yeah, there was
the
one
whole of
school, there was
Mamelodi?
one school board.
One school board. Okay.
Though it wasn't a very bad school board. It was headed by the first chairman, could hardly write his name, Dr. Mahlangu. But he was intelligent enough to know the people who could advise him. He got the right people to advise him. And he had a sticky memory because he brought the agenda to the people, they would read it to him. He would stand in front of the meeting with that piece of paper. Manje ke ilandelayo indaba ile. It's in his head, not what is written on the paper. He did very well. He had no problem during his time. Until the next chairman, when we had these blunders of moving teachers from school without any reason. They would remove a Tswana teacher to a Zulu school and realize after a week, we'll remove that teacher to another school. So, and during my time as chairman, we had to sign a petition because all lady teachers who were married were appointed on temporary basis. So they had to renew their contract every beginning of the year. And they'd go for a month or two without getting their pay. Then I went to the principal, Mr. Motsepe, who was president of Tuata, and said, now you are my principal here and my president. Now, but in the branch, I'm your chairman, I'm instructing you now. Here is a list of lady teachers who have not been paid. Go to the department and demand their salaries. He obliged. The following day, he had to go and collect their checks. That's when we signed a petition that now this thing must be stopped. We ended the temporary appointment of married teachers. And that's all about the extraordinary activities at Mamelodi.
Yes. Leave it a bit, Martina. Leave it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm too rushed with it. But were you, sorry, I couldn't hear the, you were part of the chairman of the Teachers Association.
Yes.
The Transvaal
It's called
United African
Tuwata.
Teachers.
The
Tuwata.
Transvaal
to what?
African,
Yes.
I mean,
Transvaal
Tuwata.
United
Transvaal
Teachers.
United African Teachers Association.
Yes. When you say at that time the president was Mzepe. The president
Mzepe, yes.
of Tuwata.
Yes. And again, another horrible thing that happened when I was still chairman of the branch. One evening, there was a knock on my door. It was a young boy bringing 2 teachers from the Eastern Cape who had to attend a refresher course at the In-Service Training Center. Said, "Sir, here are your visitors." I took them to the guest house at the teacher In-Service Training Center. When we got there, we were told that now only ladies are accommodated there. And the males, they must go to the men's hostel. Now you can imagine teachers going to sleep at a men's hostel. All the fields around that area, the noise and drinking around the area. I took them there. I was shocked to find that the partitioning walls were hip high. So when you stand here, you see the other person next door, in the next room. We waited there for some time until one man recognized me and said, "Now what do you want this time, man?" I told him. The poor policeman was so ashamed. From there, I went straight to Mr. Mpatela's home. He was president of ATASA, the African Teachers Union of South Africa. I told him the story. He was so disappointed. The following day, just after assembly, he went to the department, confronted the department. I don't know how he spoke to the department, but after a week, they started uploading prefabs. They put up those prefab dormitories at the In-Service Training Center and removed the stairs from the hostel. So you can see how lowly they were taking our status.
Yeah.
For a whole professional to go and sleep at a men's hostel. So that is one of my achievements as branch chairman there.
Did you say you went to Mpahlele?
Yeah, he was president of ATASA.
All right, but where was he? Because this, I assume this is still the 60s. Was he at Mamelodi High School? I'm just trying to trace where Mr. Mpahlele was.
Motsepe in 1963, is it 63?
Yeah,
63. Motsepe fled the country. Then Mpahlele was appointed principal.
Okay. Where was Mpahlele from?
Khaiso in Petersburg. He was principal of Khaiso.
All right.
He was principal of Gamelodi.
He was principal of Gamelodi.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then he went to Khaiso. When Mpahlele left, Motsepe left, he came to Mamelodi High.
Okay.
Then he was president of ATASA. Then I went and said, "Now you are president of ATASA, here is a problem." Then fortunately obliged, he confronted the department and they put up those prefab dormitories. And yes, another thing that we introduced at Mamelodi was drama. I produced a play called King's Highway. During the rehearsal, Mr. Kunene was so impressed The whole was so impressed. Then Kunene decided to produce a Zulu drama. When Khotane produced a Pedi drama, we had a drama day, so well supported by the schools, but what discouraged us, we thought with the monies raised, we're going to buy paraphernalia for the drama activities. The principal took all that money, we didn't know what he did with the money, so we dropped it. We didn't go on with the project of promoting drama in the school. All right. Then, in 1967, a post was advertised for a principal at Ribanelaka. I applied. The school committee recommended me for appointment, but the school board came with their tricks. They wanted somebody else. They jackled the arrangement of the school committee, but they failed to get the men they wanted to put in. So the inspector, Mr. Owens, got so fed up that he phoned Mr. Mpashele that tell Mr. Seboni to go and fill the post, fill the forms for a post of vice principal at Ribanelaka. So that's how I got to Ribanelaka. As vice principal, and things were not very bright there. That's why I didn't stay long. I had to look for a better place for me. I worked there in 1968 and 69. In 70 April, I started at Tembisa.
In April.
April 1970. I started at Tembisa High School. Now, when I got to Tembisa, before leaving, Mr. Msesane and Mike Van Dijk tried to discourage me. He said, "You'll never get that place right. It's a horrible place." And it was horrible. Then when I was appointed, I questioned the school board and said, "Why is it that you have only 8 classrooms for post-primary education in such a big area?" The answer was shocking. Children in this area don't like schooling. It could be a waste of funds to build a bigger school. I said, "If I'm appointed, I'll prove you wrong." All right, you see, I was appointed. We started now pleading for the extension of the school, but the board was not prepared to listen. I said, "You'll be in trouble soon." Then I think I don't know if you'll be able to read this thing. Now, This is the message I sent to the alumni of Tembisa. With a good reader, I ran out of breath. Can you read it?
Tembisa High School alumni, I have decided to send this message to you and the alumni of Tembisa High School after my 92nd birthday, 13th July 2023. Many people, including the Tembisa School Board and the Pretoria East inspectors, gave me the little chance as headmaster of Tembisa High School. I was determined to succeed. I was inspired by the words of G.B. Shaw, who said, "This is the true joy in life, that they're being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one. They're being a force of nature instead of feverish, selfish little clot of ailments and grievances, complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I believe my life belongs to the whole community, and if I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die. For the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle for me. It is a sort of splendid torch which I have got hold of for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it to the future generations." The words of G.B. Shaw made me realize that my stay at Tembisa Secondary may not be long, but I must make it memorable. Dear alumni, I wish to express my sincerest gratitude for the love and sweet memories of the period spent together. Indeed, we lived as a compact, loving family. Both staff and students accepted my leadership in all our endeavors to effect positive development. We were supported by a progressive school committee under the chairmanship of Reverend A. Muloi. My last day of service at Tembisa High School was 30 April 1977. My memories of life at the school haven't faded with the passage of time. You, the alumni, keep me alive. When I celebrated my 70th birthday, a group of the former students organized a surprise party for me. Among the guests were the former Premier of Limpopo. 2 years later, I was invited to dinner at Caesar's Palace by more students. In 2006, I was also invited to join staff members on the grounds of Tembisa High School. I was gifted with a walking stick for future use. I was presented with a citation on my contribution to education in Tembisa. A luncheon was also arranged by the class of 1976 for me at the Midrand Protea Hotel. More recently, the class of 1990 gave me with a Stwalangwe at the dinner hosted at the Beachwood Hotel. I was in the company of Mr. R. Mutiba, Mr. J. Tsenatse, former headmaster and the current headmasters of Tembisa High School. In addition to this great gesture, I continue to be humbled by the phone calls, messages, birthday wishes, presents, and personal visits. On the 6th of May 2023, I was visited by more than 50 former scholars of Tembisa High School. They were neatly dressed in white t-shirts with the school logo embroidered on them. Mr. Chunga explained the significance of the symbol and logo. I was presented with the symbolic shirt and many other gifts. With each new speaker talking about my contribution to their development and testimony, I couldn't help but recall the words of G.B. Shaw. I made the torch which I held for 7 years at Tembisa High School burn brightly. Those who took the torch from me continued to keep it burning bright. I started at Tembisa with 8 classrooms. I got 4 more classrooms, a library, a domestic science center, and a laboratory added. I pressed for more schools in the area when I left Tembisa. Gianni Secondary School, Witimelong Secondary, and Lazarus Nklapo Technical Schools. Registration were born to that pressure. An additional contribution dear to my heart was the implementation of the adult night classes. Among the products of Tembisa High School are medical doctors, university lecturers, nurses, educators, company directors, pastors, creatives, and many more. Thank you for all the continued love, respect, and waving the flag of Tembisa high to fly high. May the ethos of the institution live on. SW Seboni.